Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel. Thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Lange and Sohne 1815 Rattrapante Perpetual Calendar in Platinum. You can see and you can purchase this grand complication on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Platinum grand complication. Now, working in the luxury watch industry is a privilege, and I have to say that there's very little that disappoints. Everything has its merits, everything has credits to its designers, its watchmakers, its engineers. So I generally see watches that alternate between the superb, quite common, and the spectacular, rare even in these ranks. The watch on my wrist counts among the few spectacular. Truly special. This watch combines everything that is Lange with the finish, the heritage, the modern tradition that entails, with a contemporary grand complication of over 600 parts, the notion very much of the modern era. This type of watch in a wrist size simply impossible to achieve in the traditional era of the 19th century and early 20th century German watchmaking. Here, Lange is forging a modern tradition and a distinguished one in every respect. The timepiece is big, 42 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the Rattrapante trigger at 10 o'clock, chronograph pushers, or crown. It's not excessively thick, though it is substantial. At 15 millimeters thick, nevertheless, the generously rounded dome-style bezel allows the dress cuff to slide up and over the timepiece fairly easily. From lug to lug, the watch is 50 millimeters, which is to say, if you can wear a contemporary supercase 40mm Rolex on a bracelet, you'll be able to wear this, but you'll never be able to ignore the weight of it. To me, that's part of the experience and part and parcel to the satisfaction of owning this timepiece. It asserts itself. It has personality. Never obtrusive, though. You appreciate the mass of it because, frankly, you expect it at this level. You get a full platinum, deployant clasp, very heavy, beautifully made, beautifully finished, just like the watch itself. It nicely counterbalances the weight of the watch head on the wrist, so if you wear your watch loose, it's not going to capsize like a sailboat without a keel. It has a keel. You can also see that the case is beautifully finished. Satin finished along its flanks, polished on its bezel and its case back, beautifully polished with a very small and subtle hairline bevel along the rounded lugs. The watch is handsome. It's sensuous. It has sinuous curves. There's a beautiful crease to the bezel where it meets the case band. It's highly attractive and sexier than you would think a large, bulky complication would be. But it does have that je ne sais quoi. Something about this watch just exudes sex appeal. The dial is handsome, but wonderfully subtle. The combination of alpha-style hands, blued, contrasting with a matte, not sunburst silver finish. It glows rather than explodes in direct light. You can see the step of the minute track outboard and the chronograph seconds track, adding a little bit more depth. And then you can see the countersink of the sub-registers. First, there's an outer circumference for the first level of complication in each case, and then there's another countersunk inner race for another complication. So the watch has wonderful layers to it. The eye follows these layers down to the base of the dial, and it's all anchored by a solid gold moon phase disc at 6 o'clock. Lange's moon phase discs are gold, and then a vapor deposit creates the color rather than having a blank sapphire disc and adding various levels of metallic and varnish deposit. This is actual gold that's been specially tailored to create the image of the night sky. The hands are beautifully heat blued, not chemically blued, and you can see in each sub-register complications, perpetual calendar indications, a power reserve scale at 12 o'clock. You can see that there is a very, very subtle constant seconds baton style running at 6 o'clock. And yes, the watch, which features pretty much every refinement you could possibly imagine at this level, does include hacking seconds. Now, the split seconds function. Lange chronographs, thanks to a wonderfully tuned tandem of levers and column wheels are buttery smooth to operate. They sound great, they feel great. It's almost like the pusher sucks itself in, and that's true whether you're actuating the Rattrapante trigger or the primary chronograph triggers. And I should mention, this being a split, it features not one, but two beautifully crafted column wheels on its reverse side. Now, the watch is finished in the finest tradition of German watchmaking, but much of what we consider the tradition of Glashütte finish today is actually a product of the modern a. Lange and Sohne. In business since 1990, selling watches since 1994, Lange established much of the modern wristwatch design language that we now associate with the region, including the use of Maillot, as it would be called in Francophone watchmaking territories, or German silver, a nickel-copper alloy that's beautifully gold-hued and wonderfully corrosion resistant, such that it doesn't have to be plated with rhodium like Swiss brass. Also, the setting of pivot jewels for the movement in screw-fixed golden chaton, this watch featuring no fewer than 4 chaton. And you can see the watch also features, if you look carefully, ornately hand-engraved portions featuring not once but twice, if you can just barely see the balance cock, a signature item of every Lange watch. Fortunately, Lange has doubled up on hand engraving of the movement such that you have an excellent view. The watch also features beautifully heat-blued screws, and like most Lange timepieces, manually wound, it obscures nothing save that which is obscured by the immensity of 43 pivot jewels and over 610 individual parts, 631 being the total count. This is a watch that leaves nothing on the table. Spectacular in its finish, spectacular in its engineering, uncompromising, beating away at a stately and traditional 21,600 vibrations per hour with a 42-hour power reserve. Yes, you'll need to wind it every day, but what a privilege and what a pleasure. You can see this a. Lange and Sohne 1815 Rattrapante Perpetual Calendar in platinum and purchase it on our website.